Welcome to today's episode, the podcast where we discuss the most recent installments of a different TV series every show. It's Friday, September 12th. Task on HBO is a gritty new thriller from the creator of Mare of Easttown. Episode 1 is titled Crossings. It's 65 minutes and it kicks off a cat and mouse thriller in Philly, starring both Mark Ruffalo and Tom Pelphrey. So before we jump into the plot, because we'll talk the plot, we'll talk the star-studded cast, we'll talk trivia, early reactions, our rating, I want to bring up Brad Ingelsby. You talked about Brad Ingelsby back in 2021 and how much he loves Pennsylvania when we talked about Mare of Easttown. Do you remember what I gave that podcast, that episode?
I'm going to guess an 8 out of 10.
It was a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
I was really impressed by it, and so was the world. It has an 8.4 on IMDb still. It has an 81 on Metacritic. The finale set records as far as viewership in the first 24 hours, and it finished with 4 Emmys, mostly for acting. And I think Kate Winslet was Brad Ingelsby's main choice for the role, even though she had a completely different accent. Like, she had to bring in the Delaware County accent to this project. And
what is it about Pennsylvania? Because it seems like even in 2025, we've had a lot of things set in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Even Deli Boys, I think that comedy came out in May.
And well before that, you had It's Always Sunny, you had Abbott Elementary, but name some of the crime thrillers, because we got some of those
Long
too.
Bright River,
Right.
that came out. And then right after that, we actually reviewed it back to back. We did Dope Thief also.
And Dope Thief obviously has been compared to Task a lot. Why is that?
It's impossible not to, because the main two characters in this, and I don't even think that Mark Ruffalo is the main character. I think it's Robbie and Cliff in the first episode are too much almost like Ray and Manny, the main two in Dope Thief, because
Wagner Moura and the guy Paperboy.
Brian and Tyree Henry, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they also only rob drug dealers. And in Dope Thief, they pose as law enforcement, but they do something very similar. They target drug houses.
Yeah, which do you think is the smarter way of going about stealing from a drug dealer? Being a garbage man, where you're able to, like, how did they find the drug houses in Dope Thief? Do you remember?
I don't actually. I think that there must have been some type of connection.
I think they had their third friend, kind of like they have their third friend Peaches here.
Peaches, yeah.
And they just had leads because they were kind of in the underworld already.
Right. I think that it's smarter to go the Task way, because the second that that drug house finds out, if for whatever reason that you're not law enforcement, it seems like you're almost worse. It might be better to just rob them like they do here.
I do think they've gotten away with more in Task, more robberies. They're at 12 at this point, and that's why the FBI has been called in. Let's jump into the show. Let's talk about Mark Ruffalo for a second. I always get him confused with one actor. Do you know who it is?
No.
Eric Bana. Okay? And so, or is it Eric Bana? I don't know how you pronounce his name, but I have a game for you. It's Eric, Mark, or both. Okay?
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Starred as the Hulk.
Well, I mean, both of them
did.
Yeah.
Yes, that was an easy one. Stars as a depressed alcoholic investigator in a 2025 crime thriller forced to work with newbies.
Okay, I'm going to go with Eric Bana because I feel like that's a trick question.
Well, it's both. Obviously, there's this one.
And then what was the Eric Bana one?
Untamed.
Oh, yeah, okay. I forgot that he was even in that, but he's the main character.
Which is older?
Which is older? Oh, I'm going to go with Mark Ruffalo, I think.
They're both the same age. 57 years old, but you got it right. Ruffalo was born in 1967 November, and Bana was born in 1968 August. So they're both 57. Who's taller?
Eric Bana, right? I think Eric Bana is like 6 foot.
How did you know that? He's 6'2".
I think, I think I know that just genuinely he's tall. And
Mark
Ruffalo is like really short, right? That's why it's so funny that he plays the Hulk.
He's 5'8".
Yeah.
And so Bana is actually the his brother is 6'8".
6
So
foot
he's actually
8.
kind of short for his family.
Jeez, it reminds me of like Dennis Quaid and Randy Quaid, where I think Dennis Quaid's like 6 foot, but Randy Quaid's like 6'5".
His brother is Kevin Durant, which changed their name for acting.
Mark Ruffalo?
No, it was Eric Bana. Do you want to take a guess at what his previous name was?
I don't know.
Okay. There's Eric Benedinovich. There's Eric Allen White. There's Eric Vlepper or Ted Dason.
Eric Vlepper.
Eric Vlepper?
Yes.
No, it's Eric Benedinovich. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Okay. 7 degrees. Can you connect them? And you
Oh
can't use
god.
the Hulk.
I can't use the Hulk?
You can't use the
That
Hulk.
was okay, that was gonna be my one
You
thing.
can start with the Hulk, but you can't connect it back into the Hulk.
The
How about
problem
that?
is I don't know a lot of things that Eric Bana has done. I remember he was in Mary and Max, so that's, like, my only pipeline. Oh, Sam Neill, I guess. Sam Neill was okay, so Mark Ruffalo, Samuel L. Jackson to Sam Neill
Where are you
to
going Samuel Jackson to Sam Neill?
Jurassic Park,
Okay.
and then Sam Neill to Eric Bana.
Right. No, you got it. That works. That's like 3 degrees, wouldn't it be?
Yeah,
Boom,
3 or
boom,
4.
boom. So he plays who in this series?
Tom Brandis.
Tom Brandis. And the other person is Robbie, right? So
Yes.
Tom Brandis is the FBI and Robbie is the robber. Robbie the robber.
Robbie and then Cliff. Cliff is supposed to, I feel like, a very
I don't have a
close
game
friends.
for Cliff, though. So we'll stick with Tom Pelphrey for a second. Tom Pelphrey from Ozark, Tom Pelphrey from Love and Death. I think he played the preacher there or the priest.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was also in Banshee. I know you watched Banshee for a while.
Do you remember what character possibly?
Yeah, it says that he was Kurt Bunker, neo-Nazi turned good guy.
Oh, from season 4. That's when he has like his biggest part in it. I would never have guessed it too, because I think he's a lot skinnier in Banshee than he is here.
He just has a beard here. But do you know who I always get him confused with? Tom Pelphrey.
No.
Tom Paine.
Tom Paine?
Yes, Tom Paine from The Walking Dead. Jesus.
Dude, that's who you
Prodigal son.
That's
Their
who you
names
get
are so
Tom
similar. So I have a
Pelphrey
little game
confused.
for you. It's called Tom, or both. Okay?
Okay.
Which is older?
Oh god, I would go with Tom Pelphrey, right?
They're not the same age. They were both born in the same year. One is 42, one is 43.
Which one's technically older though?
Pelphrey is 43.
Okay, so it's still right.
Who got their first acting role on a soap opera in 2004?
Both?
It was just Pelphrey. They both were acting by 2007 though, and I do find it funny that in 2007 Pelphrey played a character in a show called The Berg called Douchebag Dave, and Tom Paine was in an episode of Skins. He was in the Effie episode in the first season. He was one of the 2 bros who kidnapped her.
Oh, he was one of the bad guys. I
Yeah.
think he was, because there was like a main
Spencer.
bad guy. Yeah, and then I think he had a
His
sidekick.
friend.
I think he was his friend. Yeah.
Mhm. Which one of them is engaged to Kaylee Cuoco?
Tom Pelphrey?
Trick questions, both. It is Tom Pelphrey. Tom Pelphrey is engaged to her. And then who starred in The Task?
Well, Tom Pelphrey, right?
The Task was starred in by Tom Paine in 2011. Okay, you did all right. I'm not going to ask you to do the 7 degrees for them. This is supposed to be a show for dads everywhere. Do you agree?
For dads everywhere?
Well, yeah,
Why
because
would
Mare of Easttown, you had a female detective lead, and it was a whodunit. And this one, it's supposed to be more of a cat and mouse about fathers.
Well, it focuses on dads, but the strange thing about the
And family.
show is that Robbie, he's almost arguably a better dad
Oh,
than Tom is.
well, it depends on which kid you're talking about.
Right.
Because watching your pseudo kid almost have sex and then having to throw out their boyfriend feels like that's kind of a mistake as a father.
Right. No, that's the worst that his character gets. I'm talking more about Wyatt and Harper.
His relationship
brother's
with
kid.
Maeve is complicated.
Yes, Maeve is his niece, but I'm talking about the brother's
About
kid.
the 2 younger kids.
Yes, Wyatt and Harper, we see him be nice to them. He even tries to teach them like what to say in terms of like dinner. And also even the crimes that he's doing, they're not good, but he's ripping off the drug dealers.
He needs money.
Yes.
Apparently, garbage man duty isn't enough to raise all those kids and also his friends, whatever relatives that they're having to pay for. And so, yeah, he's running this ragtag group of ne'er-do-wells who are breaking in at gunpoint, making quick steals, and then getting out of there. What did you think of their masks?
Their masks?
Yeah, the masks they'd wear.
I mean, like, I think that it's Robbie that wears a skeleton,
Yes.
right? And then I forgot I think it's Peaches like wears a wolf mask. I thought that they looked cool, honestly.
Okay. And so then you have Tom Brandis, who is a former priest, and then he's turned fed, and now he's been on desk duty for a while because of tragedy in his own family.
He really did not want to go back to doing task
Active
force.
duty, yeah.
But I think that the person that they went to originally was like on maternity leave or something. So he's the one that's next
I
up.
think she had a medical issue or
That's what it
something.
was,
Like her
yeah.
uterus exploded. Is that what they said?
It was something serious.
Kathleen, so Kathleen is his boss. I think she's from Goonies originally. She's been in a ton of
Goonies?
stuff. Yeah, way back in the day. And and Martha Plimpton is her real name, and she's grumpy, but she assigns him to this new unit, and they are actually housed in an old drug house. He has to like renovate the house before they all show up.
This may be a dumb question, but is that how that works when you're in a task force? Like you get like a almost Airbnb, but way worse house to
I
live
think they
in?
work with what they got. So whatever the budget can afford, and whoever's in charge of, like, I guess Kathleen's, like, it's weird because if you watch Slow Horses, they have it a little bit different as well. But yeah, what did you think of his new unit?
I didn't like his new unit, but that's mostly because we have Alea, Anthony, and Elizabeth. They call her Lizzie,
Did you
and
recognize
Lizzie.
any of them?
No, I did not.
Okay,
But
so
Lizzie's the one that we mostly focus on.
well, Lizzie's the most, what would you say, new to the
She's new, but she's also just very
She's a little
inexperienced.
incompetent when
Yeah.
it comes to stuff. However, it feels like they're setting up the thing for the other two to be really nerdy and for her to have more of like street smarts.
Right.
Like
I
she's going to
imagine.
go out there and she's going to be able to get some leads that the other two aren't able to.
And I think that probably by the end of the series, she's going to prove herself in some way. Still, I was annoyed to see that they were going with that type of character,
She
especially
is also the
first
comic
one.
relief
Yes,
because like
right.
when she's introduced, she's swearing at her like ex on the phone, telling
Talking
him to
about
get
like the items that she's going to
out of her
take.
house. And yeah, it seems like everybody has a dysfunctional relationship that they're dealing with in this first episode. I did like when Tom goes to the drug house first and starts cleaning it up. It's like this guy, he's definitely an alcoholic. He wakes up every day, uses all the ice in his fridge to like slam his face in there and he give him some coffee kick.
Yeah.
And then he also worked as a priest for a really long time. And then he's now transferred to the Fed. He's had something terrible happen where his adopted kids, like one of them is in jail and
It's
the other
Ethan.
one.
Ethan, he's in jail since, and I don't know if we know how long he's going to be in there
Yeah,
for.
but like, how did he find the time to become a home improvement expert?
Yeah,
Because like
I
he's
don't
going
know.
in there and he's diagnosing these like water holes at the top of the house and fixing the
It
roof.
seems like he should be more, and he does talk to Emily, but Emily definitely has kind of a distant relationship with him. He should focus more on that.
On his daughter?
Yeah.
He also does go to get water ice where she works and make sure that he's in her life a little bit. And then he's also an avid bird watcher as well as baseball enthusiast.
I did like those binoculars that he kept on whipping out throughout
He
the episodes.
loves binoculars. He used them for his work when he was looking around, and they even had a little Easter egg where one of the booths that was set up was for Easttown, because
Oh, that's cool.
the
I didn't know that.
place where it's taking place in Philadelphia, in Delaware County and Chester County, the same places around area where they filmed Mare of Easttown. But in this universe that this guy created, Brad Ingelsby, they're still in proximity with each other.
Right.
So like even though Task is filmed in real places, like it actually uses the real names to places, and Easttown didn't, like they're still in the same universe.
So yeah, so we might be getting a crossover with Tom and Mare.
They've already teased that a little bit. Yeah.
Really? That's actually
I don't think it's
happen?
going to happen this season, but they teased it if it moved forward. So the ultimate thing that happens in this episode is you have Robbie. They've got this big heist. It's going to be the one to push them over the top.
Yeah, and they even have to employ one of their friends, Peaches. I recognized him automatically from it, and if I'm thinking of the right person, I think he was also in an episode of Black Mirror. I'm not sure.
He was. So he was in Bloodlined, he was in The Stand, and he was in It 1 and It 2.
Oh, he was the main character in The Stand. Yeah.
Owen Teague. And he was also cast with Danny Glover in 2017 in Netflix's Lock and Key. However, it got recast a couple years later, and who ended up being in it? Amelia Jones, who plays Robbie's 21-year-old niece, Maeve. Also from Coda.
That is insane. I did not recognize her from
Yes,
Coda.
she has black hair. She's more like Fiona from like she's a punk Fiona from Shameless.
Main
in
character
this.
from Coda though?
Yes, the main girl,
Wow.
the singer.
She's aged.
Well, she's also going to be in Running Man. She's only 23. She's playing 21 here. But the crazy thing about her character is I thought that her performance juxtaposed with Tom Pelphrey in the one scene where they're yelling out at the balcony area, or what was it called? The patio
Yeah,
area?
especially when they were kind of throwing in each other's faces whose house it was. I thought that was the best, like, drama that we got
That was
from
the
the
most real.
episode.
That's where Tom Pelphrey was able to use his Guiding Light fame. That's the soap opera that he got famous for in 2004 to its real extent. Yeah, his character feels a little bit like if you've ever seen Ozark, he played there.
I
However,
felt I've only seen the pilot of Ozark, but I felt that the atmosphere was very similar
mhm.
of the whole of both
The
series.
thing I like about Maeve's character, along with there being a little bit of comic relief in the fact that she's a terrible cook, is that unlike in the first episode of Mare of Easttown, which I remember the main character there, she was also really, really good, but
Right.
she was super naive and she fell into this trap. And by the end of the episode, spoiler alert, she's dead, and she was like 15 or 16. Maeve is not her. Maeve is a lot smarter, and she seems like she's got her life together and that she would have it even more together if it not for the fact that she had all these other kids that she felt like she had to take care of.
Yeah, no, she's very competent, and I really liked her last line to Robbie, where she says that, like, if I even believe that you could take care of these
For a
kids
split
for a split
second.
second,
Yeah.
I would have left a long time ago. I also thought it was really touching when she went back inside, and then I believe it was Harper, like, kind of cracks open her door and is like, please don't leave.
No matter what the reviews have said, all seem to praise the performances of all three of the main characters.
Yeah, and I think that it's also a welcome return to Mark Ruffalo, who in the past couple years has done a lot of comedy roles with, like, Hulk, Mickey 17. You can kind of count to any, but it reminds me how good he can be in drama roles. Also, I really liked him in Shutter Island back in 2010, or Dark Waters, which came out in like 2019.
Oh, that's another one for you. So Eric Bana or Mark Ruffalo, who hates guns?
Who hates gun? Oh, Mark Ruffalo. He's a huge Democrat, right?
Both of them hate guns.
Really?
I mean, Eric Bana is from Australia, so they have a
Oh,
lot
so
more stringent rules there to
there you
begin
go.
with.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mark Ruffalo, I think, also signed that waiver in the early 2010s, along with like Jimmy Kimmel and all of them, saying that they wanted to do some sort of gun safety in movies, portray it better. And so, like, if you look at the characters where they've had guns, they always like are doing it responsibly,
Makes
which is kind of
sense.
funny.
Yeah, I mean, literally, he's part of a task force here.
Right, exactly. So yeah, the major moments in this episode is that Robbie is once again working with Cliff, who you called a main character as well. Cliff felt like, to me, and he's played by Ralph Castillo, like he belonged as an extra in Mayans MC. Like he would have fit in well there with the gang, right?
Yeah, no, I think so.
He's from Class of '09. I saw him in 7 Seconds.
There
Cliff,
was hints. There was hints. I felt like a kind of JD Pardo, but I didn't really know where that was coming from. But his character reminded me a little bit of
right.
him.
When I first saw just his Wikipedia page that he was going to be in Ralph Castillo, and I saw Fabian Frankel, the guy who plays Anthony, I thought that he was going to play like his dad. Or like his really older brother or something like that. So yeah, they're about to do this big heist.
The final 15 minutes of the show, I thought, was really intense and really well done.
They what ends up happening? They go into this one house that they know is going to be a big score.
Right.
However, just from audience cues and the way that everything's set up,
Something's gonna go wrong.
you know that this drug, the Dark Hearts, this biker gang that they keep on ripping off,
Mhm.
is setting something up. Like it's either a trap or at least they have their ears up.
Right.
They know something's going down, and so maybe it's not going to be as easy a hit as normal. So they go in there and everything's going as planned, and then Peaches loses his gun.
Peaches loses his gun, and when he's trying to tie up the girlfriend of the person that owns the house.
How would you describe the girlfriend?
The girlfriend was she could scream. She screamed a lot.
She was in your face. She was a better fight backer than like all the bikers that we'd seen.
She's the one that's able to get out of the zip ties, right? She's the one that even saves her boyfriend.
Oh, really? Was it her? I thought they were both like fighting to get the zip ties off.
But I'm saying she was the one that actually accomplished it.
She's the one who wasn't afraid to scream, "I saw your face, I saw your face," and like was almost begging to get shot.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that. I get that she was trying to scare them,
Right.
but she only
Intimidation.
saw his face for like 2 seconds.
Right. And so then that's when other people start showing up from the gang, and that's when things go bad.
I mean, bullets just start flying
Peaches
everywhere.
takes Robbie's gun, right? And then goes downstairs, gets shot himself, so he's dead. And so that was kind of like, he was presented almost like he was going to be a bigger character for the rest of the
Right.
season. Were you sad to see Owen Teague make his
I
exit?
honestly, I expected it 100. Like, the second he showed up, even 10 minutes in, I was like, this is a guest starring
Is it
role.
because he was like, "Oh, I just got married. My
Yeah,
life's going
yeah, I
so
was,
well."
and also just the person that they cast, he's one of those people that's not famous enough to keep around, but
Not yet.
definitely not someone that I feel like is supposed to be just a recurring character.
Right. And so it's just a bloodbath at that point. Robbie and Cliff managed to get out of there, but
Did you
yeah.
think, because I know where you're about to go with it, that they were just going to set it up where Peaches, it looked like he just came in there and killed everyone, and that was the
No, I
story they're
don't
gonna
think
go
that
with?
Robbie has the tenacity or the, I guess, the forethought planning to like try to set up a crime scene.
Right.
I don't think he's like a mastermind when it comes to it. I think he's going to probably stop robbing drug houses at this point. I think it'll probably also weigh on Cliff from just the extra scene that we got at the end where HBO started explaining stuff.
Right.
It seems like that might be the thing where Cliff is just having PTSD over this experience for the rest of his life. But what happens right as they're about to leave?
I thought we were going to get Jesse Plemons' Breaking Bad scene because the kid of the biker who owns the house,
Biker One or whatever. Yeah.
walks out,
Hmm.
and he doesn't know that his dad is dead. He's like, "Are you one of my dad's friends?" And then they're like, "Yes." And he's like, "Did you hear fireworks?" And the kid, I thought, was a little bit older to be playing as he was. Maybe he just didn't want to believe it in his head, but he's like 9, and I feel like that would come from like a 6-year-old
I don't
kid.
know if he was 9 years old. I couldn't determine his age in the scene. You thought that they were going to kill the kid,
Yes, I thought that it was going to be, again, Jesse
even
Plemons' Breaking
after
Bad.
seeing the way that they'd interacted with their own kid.
I mean, the second that Robbie ran over and tried to block out the scene with his body,
Yeah.
I thought that was, I realized they weren't going to kill him then, but I thought that prior to that, I thought he was going to get shot.
So this is like the 65th minute. They take the kid. I think in my mind that it would make the most sense to just drop the kid off randomly on like close enough to a town that someone's going to find him. But like y- instead, they just keep him.
Yeah, this is
This is their kid now.
yeah, it changed the trajectory of the show.
Right. Because if it would be one thing for a cat and mouse for him just to be on the run with this money or like just hiding out with the money, now you've got a potential for a huge vulnerability. You know, that kid talks, that kid, I just don't understand how it was better for them to take him than them to leave him close by. Because it's not like the rest of the biker gang, unless they're like super duper evil, was going to hurt the kid
It
or
was
that they could
strange.
use him to find them because he is so young that I doubt that he would have recognized Cliff and Robbie after that 1 second interval meeting.
By the end of this series, mark my words, that kid is going to be the reason why Robbie and Cliff meet their end. I'm sure he's going to somehow find a source of connection or communication with the task force that they're the reason why they're going to die.
Right. So the task force, we should include them again. Mark Ruffalo, he's on a bender. He, Tom Brandis decides to get drunk with his old priest buddy.
Priest Daniel, and
Mhm.
he's so drunk he can't even get up. Like, he needs
Well,
help getting up to his room.
no, he's quizzing him. He's quizzing him on Philadelphia facts and facts about the old baseball team.
I was
Um,
talking more about the end of the scene with
yeah,
Priest Daniel and
it's
Emily.
just funny because like they talk about Ryan Howard, and I think Ryan Howard was in that episode of It's Always Sunny in
He
Philadelphia
was.
with Chase Utley. So they could have got Ryan Howard for this episode if they really wanted to. Anyway,
Just as a random cameo appearance.
yeah.
Yes.
He could have imagined him, you know, because he definitely is in that dreamlike state.
Or it could have been one of those, yeah, it could have been like a trivia question and then they fade into like Ryan Howard hitting a home run or something.
Right. I think they even imagine him in the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode as well as see him. So yeah, he's drunk. His daughter shows up. His daughter's like, this happens all the time. The priest's like, I know it happens all the time. I'm his best friend.
That right there, that line, that's why I think that Tom is a better or a worse father than Robbie. Because it's like you can just see how much.
Robbie's dealing with his own trash. Like he's got his brother's death, which we're not exactly sure what happened. It looked like they may have been in the army at one point. And again, Maeve, he's raising sort of her, even though she's 21 years old.
Do you think that their relationship is going to be repaired by the end of it? Because that fight scene on
Who?
the patio, Maeve and Robbie, because that fight scene on the patio seemed like they were saying they were like kind of throwing out bangers at one another.
Well, Maeve has to take care of this new kid now, right?
Right. Well,
Like,
I don't know.
th-
See,
that's not going to be like the final straw for her. She's going to be like, oh, there's a new kid. It's
but do you think
new
that
responsibility.
they might get, I thought that the show might go crazy with the plot and might make it where they're hiding the kid, like in a basement or something like that.
No, I think he's just going to join the rest of them, and they're not going to talk about his past.
It's such a strange way for the story to go because it's like now, really, how are they going to incorporate that kid into the thing? Because, I mean, we see at the very end of the episode, the task force is at the house that the shooting took place. They even find the kid's
Right, so
doll
that's where I was
underneath.
going with it. So he's drunk. Mark Ruffalo's character is drunk.
Right.
He's out of it, and then he gets a call in the middle of the night, and he has to go to work. And so he does the thing with the ice, and then he's drinking coffee, and he's trying to wake up, and he gets to the bloody crime scene. Anthony's there filling him in. They say that who's the one who's incompetent, who doesn't like do a good job?
Lizzie?
Lizzie, she's not even there yet.
Yeah.
Or she's like outside and we just don't know what she's doing. And he's told, Mark Ruffalo's character is told that there's this kid missing, that they're pretty sure he was there. And that's what you can tell is like an Untamed for Eric Bana when he realizes that the case is connected to one from his own kids missing situation, that's going to hone him in. We may not see drunk Ruffalo as much anymore.
Right, because I mean, so far all they've learned about the people is that they're ripping off drug dealers, but like now that you're saying there's actually something that he can
Right. He's already been dissuaded away from God too.
Right.
Like he made that so clear to the priest. He was like, I don't believe in that guy at all. I think that this case is going to do what like Under the Banner of Heaven did for what Andrew Garfield's character, where he was already religious. He was devoutly religious and it kind of challenged his faith. This is the opposite, where it's going to bring him back
Right.
towards God a little bit, probably because of like, hopefully by the end of the series, something good happens.
With Under the Banner of Heaven, it was Mormons, right?
It was, yes, absolutely. It was Mormonism. This is Catholic priest, I think, is what he was.
Yeah.
So if you remember in Mare of Easttown, they actually had the director of Z for Zachariah doing all the episodes.
Oh, that's
Craig
right.
Zobel. He also did a couple episodes of The Penguin recently. He did The Hunt. So you knew that they were going to get a good director for the pilot here. Do you want to guess who they got?
I don't know.
It was Jeremiah Zager, who is best known for directing Hustle, the Adam Sandler movie.
The basketball movie.
The basketball movie. And the composer also did the music for Hustle and Venom The Last Dance. Dan Deacon, he's the one who composed it. Let's talk a little bit more about comparisons real quick. So this was inspired, the whole show. I have one trivia thing for you.
Okay.
By either Casino, it's a Robert De Niro movie.
Okay.
Goodfellas, Coming to America, or Heat.
Well, let's break it down because Casino was about the real life crime thing in the 80s where they were kind of
These
like
are all going to focus on crime.
laundering money. Goodfellas doesn't make a lot of sense
Mhm.
because, and then what were the last two?
Coming to America or Heat.
Coming to America or Heat? The last one, Heat, because I
Yes.
think with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, the way that
Exactly.
they interact with one another.
The funny thing though is that it's like the villains are bad, right?
Mhm, yeah.
And Robbie isn't supposed to be that bad, right?
Yeah. No,
They're giving him a heart.
well, that's why I'm saying. I'm saying like it almost seemed like, and I had it as one of my cons, that the villains they try too hard to make them likable, like almost to an obscene extent. You know?
You think so?
Yeah, because aside from the fight with Maeve, and aside from the last 15 minutes, which if I'll give props to the director, because again I thought it was shot well, we only see Robbie try to do good things or try to be a good father figure.
See, that's where I disagree, is because like he is shown to be the cool uncle and he's always like fun to be around, but he's not doing fatherly activities with these kids. He's not taking them to school. He's making money and he's stealing to provide, but that's not the same thing. He's not making their food. He's taking ice cream with his fingers out of the thing, and then he's not there to be the parent, I don't think.
So you're saying that Maeve has to take care of 3 people, like
Maeve now has a new person to take care of with the kid, who I think's name is Sam. And the whole point of the episode, it's titled Crossings. And I think that's supposed to show because we see all these montages where you have the same scenes happening between, or the same like shots happening between Robbie's character and Tom's character.
Tom, yeah.
And they wouldn't be synonymous if they were both good dads, like you're saying. You're saying that Robbie has the edge, even though.
I'm saying that I think that in terms of them being possibly father figures, you're right, they aren't great, but it's in completely different ways. With Tom Brandis' character, he's just so distant. With Robbie,
So they can learn off each other.
he's not, I guess he's not moralistically right, but he's trying.
Yeah, I guess so. He does. Yeah, he's an interesting dude. What did you think of the show as a whole, or what are you gonna give this episode?
I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because overall I thought that it was fine, but I found that the show was a lot more character driven than plot driven at times, which I think is going to probably take people away from the show. They're not going to be as interested in that. I also don't feel like we've gotten a good feel for kind of the world of crime yet. We've only seen Robbie, and I feel like this is going to be a show that needs to kind of do a little bit more lore.
So with Dope Thief, they kind of did the opposite. And I remember you had the same complaint about the opposite, where they focused so hard. They tried to chalk so much into like random scenes of the episodes. It felt like you were getting way more crime than you were character development.
The difference with something like Dope Thief and my problem with it was that they tried to, yes, they did try to have kind of like an overall villain, but it came across as very hokey in that instance. You don't have to have like a huge crime lord to be the big bad in your show, but I do feel like you need to have a little more than just the two people that we're following. This is following a task force. They wouldn't even just be following this one case, I feel
you
like.
have Tom and his task force, and then you have Robbie, and he's on the run with the biker gang case, but then you also have the biker gang. And I think that you haven't seen the real bad guys, which would be them. They're going to be the ones who've just gotten their ass kicked several times, and they're out for blood. They're probably going to run in with the task force as well. Things are not going to go great. The show has gotten good reception. However, most places have said that it is very bleak, very glum.
Happy Valley is what it is, like the number one thing that reminded me of.
Really?
Yeah, because again, when you're talking about kind of the bleakness and the dark story, I can't think of anything more like kind of similar. Do you see
Happy
it?
Valley is like more about the main character lady, and it does get dark for sure, but she is like the guiding force of the entire thing.
What about like We Own This City? I had that there as well because that deals
That's a
with
good
law
crime
enforcement.
thriller. Yeah, Variety, The Wire, they all praised the performances. NPR said that it was stunning and also heartwarming in a way. The IndieWire said it gave it an A-, said it would bring you to tears. But you also got some negative reviews. Like, for instance, Vulture pointed out that the gang of bike villains, which we haven't seen too much of, but we've seen some of them, aggressively generic, as if they were rejected Sons of Anarchy spec script villains. And then 2 out of 5 from The Guardian, which called it humorless. I do think that there's some humor in there. Maybe they
Definitely,
just
yeah.
couldn't realize it because it was behind like
It was mostly
British trajectory of it.
mostly through dialogue.
Yeah. And then I would like the concern that I would take and agree with, I think, is that they could have shaved like 5 to 10 minutes off this episode.
Yeah,
it was
this
65 minutes long.
This was very, very slow.
There were scenes like we didn't even really talk about Mark Ruffalo's kid who's in jail for a crime we don't even really know. We just know his wife is dead. His wife is played by one of the show's like who starred in a show that we compared Mare of Easttown a lot to, Killing.
Oh,
So
right.
she's going to be playing his wife. At least she was shown in the picture. And then so I think that scene where he goes to the jail, where Tom Pelphrey is shown having the day off and jumping off the cliff with his friends, and maybe that drunk scene, that would have been the places where I would have taken time off of and not even bothered showing it, because I don't think it helped the plot.
The pacing was very off-putting in that sense.
But I love the pacing for the when he went into the room and the date showed up and Maeve's character, and then immediately having their argument after. Like there was some tight, really cool scenes that went back to back, and it was kind of just strange that they padded it with a lot of kind of just extra drama.
Melodramatic drama.
Well, yeah, the Mark Ruffalo thing, I think you already had sort of shown it that he was someone who gets drunk a lot without having to have the extra, I'm going to wake up on 4 hours sleep and then go in and investigate a crime scene. Yeah. So anything else you want to talk about before we jump out of it?
No, that's about it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. Bye.
Bye.